But to me, it's his athleticism within the pocket. He's got real lively feet. He's really urgent in all of his movements. You know, in regards to the hand sides, is the fumbles. It's not controlling the football with his hands, but it's actually fumbling the football. Well, they're not going to knock the ball out of his hands today. So that's why it's kind of an interesting pro day.
Ability to get out of trouble if he has to and use some of that athleticism. We saw that on that 3rd and 10 touchdown pass against Tennessee, where he scrambles out of pressure, rolling to his right, then throws back to a receiver, crossing his face in the back of the end zone.
And that's the most dangerous quarterback, is somebody that can buy time. How many times have you've been at practice, Buck, and you hear these DB coaches say, you got to stay plastered this week?
Yes.
Right.
I do believe being the leader of a team for that long, he should step into the huddle and have a lot of confidence as a young player.
Yeah, and look, as we're watching a couple of deep balls here earlier, that was a really nice throw there from Kenny Pickett. I mean, look, we're not going to confuse him with Josh Allen in terms of arm strength here, but plenty enough.
It's enough.
Right?
It's enough.
Standing next to Pat Narduzzi, head coach of the Pitt Panthers, the ACC champion this year, Pitt Panthers. Of course, led by the ACC Player of the Year, who we are watching. That is Kenny Pickett.
And kind of having that conversation, said, look, he's not the most talented thrower in this draft, but I think he's the best quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very similar in terms of that part of it, playing the position, because it is more than just, hey, let's show off the big arm and do all these tricks. So when I look at 32 wins, I look at the fact that he had 16 300-yard games, even though we don't necessarily measure that from a scouting evaluation, it does suggest that he can put this offense on his back when he needs to. And so for a team that I think has a nice structured system that really can elevate the quarterback, this guy would be a terrific fit.
Goal of the workout today from his QB coach was to throw with anticipation, accuracy, and velocity using NFL throw.
Or he's able to get the ball out of his hands before they even get to the top of the route and put the ball on that upfield shoulder beautifully. So that's, to me, one of his calling cards.
Whereas, like, if he had come to that dig route late, wouldn't have thrown it. But because he was anticipating what was going to happen, he could fit it right in between 3 defenders.
And this is an arm strength throw right here. When you're throwing outside the numbers out here, throwing deep comebacks, you see some of those throws on video from him too, where he can. Now it's a high effort in terms of being able to generate the RPMs that you need, but he can find a little bit extra.
The strongest arm, but in some conditions, you have to be able to cut it through the wind. He has enough to be able to do those things, but in watching him in this workout, that part is really important.
Yeah. Thought that about a lot of different guys that have come through that camp, at the Manning camp in the summers. Is this dude is an alpha in terms of his magnetic quality to bring people together.
You see he's a very likable guy. And we can talk about quarterback and all of the physical tools, but there's some intangibles and some relationship building qualities
he's a leader.
that your franchise quarterback must have.
And I'm thinking about teams like the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints who play indoors. Like, this is apples to apples when you watch him in here with the gloves on. This is the environment you're going to be playing those home games in. You get a chance to see what his arm looks like live and in person.
See the Steelers painted in one of the end zones. Kevin Colbert, the outgoing GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers, on hand for this workout, just like he did over the course of a extremely impressive 2021 season in which he finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy voting.
A lot of air on that one.
A lot of air on that one to Jordan Addison.
But he has quieted his feet. One of the things we're looking at, just his ability to kind of quiet his feet once he gets to the top of the drop.
I mean, this thing is grown.
As he continues to work on his hand size, it's important.
He had to put that to bed today. So
yeah, the one reason we should explain why hand size is so important, inclement weather.
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to take one of these seats, so it's a lot of movement.
Yeah, a lot of movement, and I just think it's just a reflection of everyone looking at quarterbacks. 2-minute situations, can you make the plays or a handful of plays to get your team over the top?
So here's kind of the theme of this offseason as we're watching. To then push all your chips in whenever that time comes where you can strike and get an exceptional player, as we've seen a bunch of these teams do in the offseason.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I am as well. But looking at what Kenny Pickett's skill set is, and looking at the quarterback needy teams there, there are the GMs we were talking about, Scott Fitterer from the Panthers, Terry Fontenot, owner of the 8th overall pick with the Atlanta Falcons, Panthers sitting at number 6. And is there a particular scheme fit for a player like Kenny, Bucky, where he could excel maybe more so than in other spots?
You know, I'm really curious to see what he would look like in Ben McAdoo's offense in Carolina.
Shortly thereafter at 32, Matt Corral at 34, Sam Howell in there at 47.
For me, it came down to not only ready to play, but ready to play because he has experience. I think that experience should not be overlooked. Those 49 starts gives him a big leg up on the competition. The only other guy that's kind of close is Desmond Ridder, who has 44.
You know, it's a bunch of the stuff that we love about Kenny's game, which is the way he's able to maneuver in the pocket and then on the run. I mean, he's got some lasers on tape on the run.
He is very accurate, and you watch some guys, when he's going to the left, some guys actually have to flip their feet. That always bothers me when you're on the move to the left. He has no problem. He just cranks his shoulders on the move, and he can deliver the ball in front of him, which are the easier throws. But then you also see him actually go cross body even when he's going to the left, throwing the ball in the middle of the field.
Big roll out here.
So, see, he's got a unique flair to him when he gets out to the left.
Definitely showing you some of that athleticism, both in the straight line speed and then when he's moving out.
He's got enough. He's got enough arm to do everything you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, he brings a lot to the table.
ACC Player of the Year, getting a little red zone work in here, guys. And just one more thought, DJ, on where we saw Kenny really excel both today. And look, you put him in the red zone at Pitt this past year, and it was, you know, you were almost guaranteeing touchdowns.
You've got the combination of being able to make quick decisions, right? Everything happens faster, and then the ball placement becomes paramount when you get down in a condensed space like this. And I thought his ball placement was excellent down the red zone.
You know, not only his ball placement in the red zone, but I think his playmaking ability, being able to improvise, roll to his right or left, make plays off various platforms. He can do that. And in the red zone, when it's not always perfect, you need a quarterback that can extend by time. He makes a ton of plays.
That looks like a layup throw. That's a hard throw.
Yeah.
It's kind of that crossbar throw. You got
layer
that
over.
Thing. It's just got to layer up beautifully. It's a touch throw.
Yeah. Look, he excels when you heat him up because, I mean, according to PFF, this guy threw 25 touchdowns against the blitz this year, which is more than